so you can point your fucking fingers and say that's the bad guy.
International superstar Jake Paul takes on one of the most feared combat sports fighters of all time, Anderson Silva. In the most exciting fight spectacle of the year, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, Saturday, October 29th, live on pay-per-view.
To the press conference for the upcoming Le'Veon Bell versus Uriah Hall pro boxing bout, which takes place October 29th on Showtime pay-per-view. Of course, you see the gentleman here with me. We have a lot to get to on today's press conference, and you just saw the brand new promo for the main attraction that night, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Unbelievable that we're talking about this fight. It is rapidly approaching, a little over 2 weeks away, October 29th to be exact, at the newly named Desert Diamond Arena, formerly known as the Gila River Arena. So it hasn't changed venues, just a new name. Amazing how that works. It's an international event co-produced by Showtime Sports and Most Valuable Promotions, of course, a company founded by the one and only Jake Paul and his business partner, Nikisa Badarian. It's sponsored by Better, which is a new media and gaming company of one Jake Paul, which just launched a few weeks ago. Of course, he has his new podcast out as well, which is making some waves. The pay-per-view telecast is produced and distributed by Showtime Pay-Per-View, and tickets are on sale right now over at Ticketmaster.com. So you see Le'Veon Bell, the former NFL great turned boxer, had a massive win over Adrian Peterson about a month ago in an exhibition bout. This will be a pro bout, a 4-round affair, going up against the former UFC title contender, the former Ultimate Fighter contestant as well, the great Uriah Hall. He is here as well, coming out of retirement, so to speak, and we'll ask them a ton of questions about this bout that seemingly came out of nowhere. And of course, the media in attendance can ask whatever they want as well. I do want to tell you about the full pay-per-view card, which has been finalized. Alexandro Santiago versus Antonio Nieves, which is a rematch of a split draw from back in 2016, will take place on the pay-per-view card. Both are ranked in the top 10 of the very exciting 118-pound division. Also, prior to the pay-per-view, on the prelims, Jeremiah Milton versus Quinton Sumter, a battle of two undefeated heavyweight prospects, will take place in a 6-round bout. And from Team Spider Silva, Eliezer Silva, he will compete on the prelims as well. So look out for him. Of course, we have something for everyone on this card. We've got Chris Avila versus Dr. Mike. We've got Ashton Silva, who's a massive prospect. And of course, we have Uriah Hall versus Le'Veon Bell, the big one, the one at the top, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. I do want to let you know one more thing. The official digital pay-per-view site is now live. You can go to showtime.com/PPV via the web or use the Showtime app on your connected device to buy right now. You can also see the full pay-per-view fight card listed. Check out the tail of the tape for each matchup. Watch highlights and video clips, including a new episode of All Access, which will premiere next week, October 21. This pay-per-view event is for sale across TV, cable, satellite, and digital in the U.S. via showtime.com/PPV and internationally via Fight TV. All right, let's get to the good stuff here. Let's talk to the gentleman who will be competing on this great pay-per-view card on October 29th. Uriah, I'd love to start with you. Not that long ago, you put out an announcement on your social media saying that you were walking away from martial arts. Now here you are competing in boxing, and I did reread that statement, and it didn't say that you were retiring from fighting. It just seemed like you were walking away from martial arts. So could you tell us why you are coming back just a few months later to compete in this boxing match against Le'Veon Bell?
I mean, it's whatever. I love mixed martial arts. I love to compete. I'm a competitor. I'm the guy that goes out there and I'll go a million times until I win. My coach called me about this. I was traveling, just getting away and stuff, and I didn't pique my interest because, I'm just very competitive. So I'm like, give me some of these quote reasons to do it, and I'll do it. And he did. So I'm here.
Would it be fair to say that when you posted that, when you walked away from martial arts, this wasn't necessarily in your plans? Like you were at peace with just kind of doing your own thing, and then this popped up and all of a sudden you became interested in the opportunity?
What? Say it again?
when you posted that, did you have aspirations of going down a boxing route, or did this kind
Not
of?
really. Not
Okay.
really. It is what it is. It just happened. So I was like, all right. But I'm the type of guy, I have to be interested in something. If it's fun, if I see something that's challenging, then I'll do it. If it's not going to be as challenging, then I won't do it. So
Le'Veon, you had a fantastic NFL career. Earlier this summer, you said you were going to focus on your boxing career. You had that great win over Adrian Peterson, fellow running back great, about a month ago. When you were presented this opportunity against a fighter who has been competing for, over a decade, well over a decade, a UFC contender, a tremendous striker, what was your initial reaction?
Um, yeah, it was I knew it was just kind of a blessing, you know, because this is something that I've been wanting to do. I can't even explain how long, maybe like 2, 3 years. Like I've been wanting to do it, but obviously I've been playing football. So once the fight happened with Adrian Peterson, not even too long after that, I was on the show with Jake Paul. And he was talking about like fighting another like running back, and I was like, no, I don't want to fight another running back. Um, and he's like, okay, and then we end up talking, and he ended up brought Uriah Hall's name, and I thought that would have been like a great opponent for me. A guy who's been spectacular in his profession, and to step in the ring and dance around and move around with him. I knew it would be a great opportunity for me to kind of test my skills and see exactly how good I am, because I knew this is what I wanted to do. So obviously I didn't want to stay on the same level, fighting the same level guys. I want to keep up in the levels of guys. And Uriah Hall is a great opponent. And I thought, this would be a great opportunity for me.
What would be your response to people who are saying you're biting off a little more than you can chew in your pro debut? It's one thing to knock out, a former NFL player who has never boxed before. It's another to go in there against a guy who's been competing for about 17 years in MMA.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way. They're entitled to feel the way they feel. And I'm entitled to feel the way I feel. I think a lot of people just don't know how serious I actually take it, so they feel like I bit off more than I can chew because they don't know exactly what I've been doing or how hard I've been working or how seriously I've been taking the sport. So, I just, like I said, I think it's going to be a great opportunity, a great test, and we'll see what happens, you know what I'm saying? But I'm excited.
Uriah, I'm wondering, did you see Le'Veon's knockout of Adrian Peterson? Did you see the fight? And if so, were you impressed at all? In the 5 rounds that we got to see him compete, were you impressed with what he did in there?
I've never, no offense, heard of Le'Veon Bell until they brought it up.
Come on, you never heard of this guy? Pittsburgh Steelers legend, New York
I don't watch
Jets.
football. I'm sorry. I barely watch my own sport, but I didn't know who he was, and I checked it out, and I was like, okay. Listen, at the end of the day, he's a stud of what he does. He's an athlete in his world. If I cross over to his world, it would be completely different. And as an athlete, I can probably speak for both of us. It's a challenge. And what we're going out there to do is utilize that platform of challenge. Yeah, we're getting paid for it, but it's a challenge. And for him to say he wants to step into that world, kudos to him. I'm happy for him. I got nothing bad to say about him. I don't really know him, but for me, I'm just a competitor at heart. For the people that are out there, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. They're gonna come up with weird shit, weird questions. That's why I stay away from them. And I'm sure you know this. I'm the guy that tells it to your face that I don't like you. So if I don't like someone, I'm gonna tell them I don't like them. I'm here to compete. Yeah, get paid, but to step inside, a new zone and see what it brings. That's it.
Just curious, Le'Veon, were you familiar with Uriah Hall's MMA career when you were approached about fighting him?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I've heard the name for sure. Yeah. I definitely I've never like walked in and like watched a full fight or anything before, but yeah, I knew the name. I know the name before for sure.
I'm sure you've done your research. You've watched his highlights, his great bouts. How do you feel like his style is going to translate into boxing? Because of course, some of the weapons that he was able to use in the octagon, he can't use in this bout.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I think obviously, like he said, it's gonna be a great challenge for him. Because he, a lot of things he was great at, like kicking and things like that, he obviously can't do in boxing. So You know, he obviously still is a great striker. He does, you know, things standing up, using his hands. So I'm pretty sure, like you said, he took on a challenge and he's gonna, you know, be ready. You know, so and I feel like the same with me in retrospect. You know, I know how he's gonna come, and I know he's gonna be prepared and ready, and he's gonna be in shape. So I got to up my level in that notch. In the same retrospect.
What do
Uriah,
you
can
think,
I ask,
Ariel? What do you think?
what do I think what?
How do you think I'm going to compare?
I mean, I think you're a tremendous striker. I think that you are appropriately the betting favorite going into this fight. I think it's going to be interesting, and I think a lot of people are curious to see when your kicks and your knees aren't
Everything is
available.
taken away.
Yeah. How's it going to look? Clearly Le'Veon has power. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I was wondering, actually, the question I was just about to ask you was, who do you think is the better athlete between the two of you? Is it an NFL guy, a guy who's been taking, hits as a running back for about a decade, or is it an MMA fighter? It's a totally different sport, different cardio. You're using different skills. But in your opinion, who do you actually think is the better athlete between the two of you? Not the better fighter, but the better athlete.
I mean, if you ask him the same question, he's going to rule himself. I'm supposed to be confident. It's a complete different sport. I mean, he has football. I had mixed martial arts, and we're both taking away different attributes to align. So that question is kind of weird and hard to answer. How do you even answer that?
Well, okay, so let me
It's
ask Le'Veon,
confidence at the
because
end of the day.
I mean, he's fought and he's competed in the NFL. Who's the better athlete in your opinion?
I mean, I feel like I'm not trying. I just feel like I'm one of the better athletes walking around this planet. You know what I'm saying? So,
We're supposed
Period.
to feel like that. We're athletes. Who's a better
Yeah.
journalist, Ariel? You or everybody else?
Or me? I mean, give me an option. I can't say me versus the
Everybody
field.
else.
Everybody else?
Come
Really?
on,
Wow, jeez.
give me some real
I'm the
questions,
worst
man.
of the bunch? That's not fair.
Who's a
Uh,
better athlete? Come on, bro.
Sometimes
Well,
someone might say, "Hey, it's a different skill set. You're using different, you're using different parts of your body." I have great respect for NFL. Why do you think Le'Veon, the football player in this question? Why is it a silly question? Why is the football player the better athlete?
um, for me, it's just not just football. I mean, I'm known for football, but I mean, I do other things. Like, I mean, even when I was playing football, I was like still playing basketball. Like, I'm like one of the best basketball players you would probably meet. But like, I can,
Oh, damn.
people wouldn't know that because I'm not in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Anything that I kind of pick up and do, I kind of, catch on pretty quick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, other than golf, but everything else, what I'm saying, athletically speaking, what I'm saying, I feel like I've been, kind of the cream of the crop type of because I get addicted to it and I'll lock it in so quickly. So
Well, I remember not that long ago, you were saying that you wanted to fight Jake Paul. You were saying, fight someone your own size. Do you feel like this is the bridge to get the Jake Paul fight?
yeah, yeah, I do. I do. I mean, I feel like at some point obviously I gotta handle business with Uriah. But at some point, yeah, absolutely.
What are you fighting for here, Uriah? Are you hoping to get that big fight? Obviously you have a win over
That's the only
Anderson
reason why I'm
Silva.
here, man. I told you that. I was like, give me a reason. That was it. I'm a competitor.
And what is the reason for you?
Like Jake Paul.
Okay, that's what you want. I didn't know that.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Okay, so this is like the Jake Paul sweepstakes fight, even though you're
I guess
fighting
so.
on
I
a
mean, here's the
MVP
thing.
card.
He's
Yeah, but mine's not limited to just Jake Paul though. Like I'm not just not limited to that. Like,
Sure.
yeah.
I'm a competitor, man. This is a different stage.
Wow.
I boxed before. I've actually a long time ago. I did maybe some amateur boxing stuff. But, I said, listen, pique my interest to do something like this, and my coach did. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'm a competitor.
And could I ask, why is the Jake Paul of interest to you, Uriah?
It's exciting, and we had some online exchange a long time ago, and I just wanted to show him what a real fight is. I mean, it's boxing. I feel personally I can beat any boxer in the world. All I got to do is kick him if it's a real fight. But I've been in boxing gyms before
Right.
where I'm trying to learn stuff a long time ago before I tamed my ego. And, guys, especially a boxing gym, they always have this thing against MMA fighters. I'm there to learn. I'm a student. That's how I personally feel. I'm there to learn. And these guys are just coming at me. I'm like, all right, it's a fight, no problem. So I start kicking these motherfuckers. I start kicking low kick, spinning kick. And they jump in and like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was a real fight because I'm here to learn. So I just love to step outside my comfort zone and grow. again, no, I don't really know this person, but I do understand it from an athlete standpoint. And we're here to just put on a performance. He has a goal, I have my own, and we're just here to dictate that to move forward. That's it.
Le'Veon, based on that answer, just curious, any concern that at some point, the
That I'm
old,
gonna kick.
yeah, the old MMA in him is going to come
Right,
out?
right, nah, right. Yeah, for real though. Yeah, I'm like, damn, I don't know how to defend kicks. I ain't practiced that. I ain't even practicing that. Yeah, but
Hopefully.
obviously, yeah, I'm gonna say like I feel like I know he gonna be professional. I know he's a professional, so I know he'll control it. But yeah, I know like I mean that's all he kind of, if it's something you kind of do your whole life, I just know it's still gonna be kind of his head to kind of not to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's gonna be a tough challenge for him. Obviously, I know that. So, but yeah, I'm obviously not defending, or not trying to defend, leg kicks and sweeps and stuff.
And I want to remind the media that in a matter of moments, you'll be able to ask questions to both great competitors. Just use the raise the hand function, and Chris de Blasio of Showtime will call upon you. Just a couple more for them, if I may. Le'Veon, we've seen athletes cross over into boxing. You have a one-off, maybe a second fight, and then you kind of just go away. Could you tell us your long-term plans? Like, is this your new career? Are you looking to do 10, 15 fights? What are you actually trying to accomplish here?
Yeah. This is something I plan on doing. I feel like football, I guess I'm old considering football, but I obviously don't feel that way. I feel great physically. And obviously boxing, I feel like made me even feel younger. And I feel like I can do this, for years to come. I don't know exactly how long, but I know it won't be a one-off, two-off, you know what I'm saying? I'll be around, for a little minute, continually trying to get better, trying to find new opponents. And sharpen my skills, but I plan on doing this.
And for you, in terms of training, preparing, what's tougher on your body? Going through a grueling NFL training camp or a fight camp for a fight, against a guy well regarded and world renowned like Uriah Hall?
Yeah, hands down. Preparing for a fight, hands down. It's not even close. It's like I mean, don't get me wrong. Like football camps and things were hard. It was tough on my body. But that was like before I actually knew about boxing camp. And I'm saying, I was unaware of that. I'm saying? I was in a whole new field when I actually started getting into boxing workouts and understand how tough and, intense the workouts are. I'm saying? That's every day, I'm saying? Every time you're working out. So yeah, I would say boxing for sure.
Uriah, there's kind of a theme on this card. There's the MMA legends going up against either the former YouTuber or the influencer, the NFL. Do you feel like you're representing MMA when you're out there? Do you feel like you have to win this fight for the MMA fighting community, the MMA fighter community? Do you think of things like that?
When I first heard about these themes, then I felt whoever was coming from the MMA, like Tyron Woodley, I was like, represent us. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, represent yourself. I'm here to represent myself. I mean, the world's not going to like you. You're going to have people like you have people dislike you or whatever, but I have to look out for me at the end of the day. I'm a competitor first, and that's how I look at it. From the business aspect, all these other things are going to come with it, the limelight and all that. I don't look at that stuff, man. I have my blinders on, and I'm just focused. I see him only, and he's in my vicinity because I have a task at hand. I have something to focus on. I want everyone to bring their best at me, because I'm the guy that's hard to put away. I'd rather die. I have that commitment with myself when I go out there that you're gonna have to kill me. That's my mentality. I don't know what's his, but as far as being that great hope, fuck all that. I'm here for me.
Do you think he's making a mistake by accepting this fight? In other words, biting off more than he can chew?
What? No, I don't look at it like that. I think he's stepping outside his comfort zone. I think he has his own morals. Like I said, I got nothing bad to say about it. I don't know if you're trying to get me to hype some shit up, but that's y'all job. But I think
no, it's not hype. I mean,
outside his comfort.
You've been fighting 17 years. He's been,
that's his
he has
challenge.
won.
That's his personal growth. That's
sure.
on him. What else am I supposed to say to that?
Well, I was just wondering, hey, when you got offered this, wow, this guy, props to him.
Just ego, man. If anybody thinks like that, it's ego. I'm well leveled. I'm balanced. I know where the fuck I'm at. I know where I am being as a person. When you win, you see who's around you. When you lose, you see who's around you. I get all that stuff. I'm here. I'm level. There's no stupidity. I'm here, brother.
Respect. All right, let's take some questions from the media who have been kind enough to attend. Chris, take it away.
Thank you, Ariel. Let's start with Keith Eidick from Boxing Scene. You'll have to unmute yourself, Keith, and go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Chris. My question is for Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon, obviously, Uriah is not necessarily a boxer, but of course has a rich history in combat sports. How is this a different challenge for you as opposed to fighting Adrian Peterson, who was not nearly as experienced in combat sports as him?
Yeah, it'd be a much tougher challenge just because of the fact that he's been fighting, like you said, for 17 years. So he's not necessarily, I guess when I was fighting Adrian Peterson, there's a lot of times where I feel like he was a little kind of timid in fighting me because maybe it was his first fight. I don't feel like Uriah will be that way. I feel like Uriah is going to be a lot more confident because he's been in front of, fighters for 17 years. He's been hit before, not even by punches, but by kicks and all types of things. So I think he'll be a lot more confident than Adrian Peterson was. And I think, that'd be the biggest difference for me because I actually have a guy who's like really trying to like actually fight me back. And we'll see how it goes from there.
Despite Adrian's maybe timidness, as you said, what was it like for you to be in the ring? I know you've obviously played at the highest level of football in front of 70, 80,000 people and all that, but what was it like to be in there fighting for the first time?
It was fun. Obviously, there was a lot of emotion running in there. It felt a lot like when I first ran out on the field and, when we first break the huddle and like the first play's called and I'm getting the ball to first place, kind of like that feeling. And then like once I get the ball, get tackled, it's like, all right. It's like everything kind of goes away. It's like I'm settled in. And that's kind of how it was. Once, the bell rang, I went out there and I'm just standing in front of them. Everything kind of went away. And, I was ready. I was locked in. Everything else around me, I really didn't pay attention to. I just was so locked in and focused on my fight. So it was a lot of similarities in that aspect.
How would you explain maybe or compare the exhilaration from knocking someone out as opposed to, maybe scoring a touchdown or something?
Yeah. There's no... Yeah, that feeling was crazy. Like I had games where I had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever. Like, but that feeling that I had where knocking somebody out like tops the cake. Like that takes the cake over any like initial feeling I ever had in football, hands down.
I just have one last question for you, Le'Veon. You mentioned earlier in the call that you would like to fight Jake Paul. I was just wondering what you've noticed maybe in his progression and development here as a boxer and what you think of maybe his chances against Anderson Silva.
Yeah, Jake, obviously from his first fight to I think it was his 5th or 6th one, like he's got better each and every fight. He continually getting sharper. He's obviously taking the sport seriously. He's not a guy who's just talking. And obviously Silva is going to be a great test for him. Silva's been doing this for years. He's been a legend. So it's gonna be a great opponent, great challenge for Jake. So it should be fun. I'm eager to watch that one too. I can't wait to see that one.
Thanks, Le'Veon. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks.
Keith. Great questions. Let's go to Damon Martin. Damon.
First question is for Le'Veon. Le'Veon, you did football for so many years. And you mentioned, of course, you don't really think of yourself as a football player necessarily because you do basketball and all these other things. But now that you're doing boxing, like, do you look at yourself as a full-time boxer now? Like, boxing is going to be your career going forward?
Yes. Football won't be, obviously. Yeah, it definitely won't be football. I'll tell you that. It's definitely boxing. I'm done with the football thing. Just because of the fact that I can't really go back and forth with boxing and football. It's so hard to try to box and still be trying to do football. You know what I'm saying? Like boxing is one of those things you got to be all the way in on. And that's something I've been trying to do. So, it's been boxing for me.
When you play football, any contact sport, there's an inherent risk you're putting your body and, let's be honest, your brain with that. And we've seen it a lot lately raised up in the NFL with what happened with Tua Tagovailoa. Now you're going into boxing, another sport that is inherently dangerous, things like that. Was there any thought about that, or how do you approach that as a guy who was in a sport, very violent sport like football, and then going into boxing, another one where, again, there's always that potential risk?
Yeah, people mention it. People say things to me about it. But even in football, like I guess just not me just being a natural competitor that I am, like I don't think about it like that. Like I'm not thinking about, like, even in football games, if I got the ball like 20, 25 times, you know, I wasn't like getting concussed or had headaches or things like that. I was a guy who, like, you know, I felt like I wasn't getting hit clean or whatever it was in football. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I was getting tackled, but I felt like I wasn't getting hit how other people would get hit, you know, and same with boxing. You know, I go out there when I box, you know, I feel like I'm not trying to get punched. I mean, obviously, you know, you can go out here and box and not expect to get punched, but I'm not going out here expecting to get punched. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, I wouldn't be boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going out there trying to, you know, think about what it could do to me or how I'm gonna feel, because obviously at the end of the day, I'm trying to be good at it. So if I'm doing the sport, the point of it is to not be getting hit. And if I'm getting hit too much, I shouldn't be doing the sport.
And a question for Uriah. You know, we've seen a lot of guys coming into combat sports from other areas. Of course, Jake Paul being the YouTube guy. Now we got Le'Veon Bell coming in from football. You got Darren Williams coming in from basketball. As a guy who spent, you know, pretty much your entire life focused on martial arts and kind of developing your fight craft, like, what do you make it? Like, do you think we should be inclusive, inviting them in, saying, you know, I'm glad to see these guys doing it? Or is there a little bit of like, hey, I've been doing this my entire life. It's not as easy as just, you know, training boxing for a year and stepping in the ring.
I mean, it's never going to be easy, man. I mean, for MMA, the grueling type of thing you have to put on your body. I know when I get ready for MMA fight, you know, you have to train 7 different disciplines. I got to train my wrestling, my football, my wrestling, my boxing, my kickboxing, my judos, and my everything else. And then there's strength training. So there's all these things you got to train, and then you got to recover. And then there are days you just feel like shit, but you got to do it again. It's such a toll on your body. The greatest way I can explain it is like, you know, a dog aged like 7 years. That's how it is for a fighter. You just age faster because there's so much pressure you put on your body. But kudos to these guys for trying to do it, man. As an athlete, I just know from a competitive standpoint, if you feel like you want to step outside your comfort zone, they can do that. You know, Darren D. Will, you know, he did it, and you know, he's a basketball player, he's a wrestler too. A lot of people don't know that, and you know, he stepped out there to kick some ass, and he did, and he had fun with it. And I asked him if he wanted to do it again. He's like, I don't know, because the training is too much, like Le'Veon said. But
and Uriah, you mentioned, you know, having the reasons for doing this fight. Now, the opportunities are there for, you know, boxing opportunities. We just mentioned, of course, you know, other athlete fights, the Jake Paul fight, other things that are out there. Are you looking at this as kind of like a start to a new career? Or are you just kind of taking it one step at a time? Like, you'll fight this fight, and if another great offer comes in, you'll do that.
yeah, I'm just having fun, man. You know, I'm retired from mixed martial arts-ish, but I'm not retired from making money. So, you know, it's a great opportunity, and I see where it can take me. If there's another opportunity after this, then yeah, I'll take it. But you know, I have a goal. I mean, I feel it's important to have a goal, something to reach to. Can't just double around and play. I don't want to be a journeyman like that. I want to have a purpose for doing it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Damon. I have a few questions that came in via the chat here from Andres Ferreri. If I may, I'll repeat them. Andres is one of the sports editors at ESPN.com. First question from Andres for Uriah. Uriah, what kind of style will you bring into this fight? Your counterpunching seemed to be very effective in the UFC. Do you think you need to use counterpunching or perhaps be more aggressive against Le'Veon, considering your hand speed?
Well, obviously that gives everything away. It depends, you know, and that's the cool thing about fighting. Wherever he brings, I have to adjust. In mixed martial arts, I have to adjust. Whether if somebody's kicking crap out of me, I got to punch him or take him down, or vice versa. And that's why I love mixed martial arts so much. It's just so many other attributes. I feel like boxing is a little bit one-dimensional. You know what to expect. Granted, other people are faster with their hands, they're dynamic and all that stuff. But I know he's fast. I'm fast too. I know he hits hard. I hit hard too. So I personally think it's whoever goes out there and, you know, impose the will.
Okay, great. And one from Andres again, for this one for Le'Veon. Le'Veon, you set up the right hand. You landed against Adrian Peterson really well. Jab to the body, feint. You landed the overhand right. How difficult was it to work on that combination, and how exciting was it to actually see it pay off?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was something I feel like I seen happening over the course of the fight. When I actually went for it, I didn't feel like I actually hit him hard. But I think he kind of ran into it, and that's what probably put him out. And it felt good, the fact that once he got out and or once he fell down, and I look over and the ref kind of calling the fight, it felt good, but it's just something I work on all the time. I guess just shadow boxing. It's not something I necessarily just a certain combo I work on. I guess it kind of set up just from shadow boxing and me seeing it during the fight. I mean, just going for it.
That's great. Thanks very much. All right, let's go to Rory Robinson. Rory's with Boardroom. Rory, if you unmute yourself, go ahead, please.
All right, I have a question for each here. First question for Leviano. You just fought almost exactly 1 month ago. It's a relatively quick turnaround. What inspired you to fight again on such a quick turnaround? And do you think you have, are you relatively expecting to be boxing at this quick of a pace throughout your career with not much time between fights?
Okay, so I don't think it's supposed to. Yeah. All right, let me start over. So the fight happens. The Adrian Pearson fight happens. That's over. I get on the Jake Paul show like 2 days later. He asked me to fight on his card because I guess his got postponed or his fight didn't happen or whatever. And it was a quick turnaround, like 48 days. He asked me to fight on the card, so I just thought it was a good opportunity. Because I had plans on taking vacation and all types of things, but obviously that got postponed because he asked me if I on the car. So I said, yeah. And when he did that, obviously I had 48 days at the time, and I started training. I kept training, and obviously we're here today. But I definitely don't plan on fighting at this rapid pace. Moving forward. After this fight, I'm definitely taking time and relaxing. I'm chilling. I'm taking a vacation. I'm going to relax because I've been literally training probably down there all year. So yeah, I'm gonna take time after this fight.
Thank you. And for Uriah, Jake Paul has been known to speak out on fighter pay in MMA. He says that he's on record saying he expects Anderson Silva to have a career high payday in this fight, along with other MMA fighters that are currently boxing. How will October 29th rank amongst the highest paydays in your career?
Compared to UFC?
Just compared to all the fights that you had previously, like where would this rank amongst all of your fights? But sure, you could say UFC.
It's okay. I mean, listen, UFC opened my career, and over the extent of my career, I made a great deal, and everybody's contract is different. Yeah, there's a lot of things that aren't fair. I mean, I don't think certain things are fair to the athletes, and for him to speak out on that, kudos to him. But is anything done yet? No. So, how far can we take it? Don't have to go too much into details, but I know people that are making 10 and 10, which is ridiculous, because you're going out there and you're fighting, you're putting your brain cells on the line, and the fucking ring card girls are making 70,000, which is utterly fucking ridiculous. So, yeah, there's some shit that's just not going down, but compared to this, it's okay. I never really, you know your worth as you get older in the career. I think, especially when you put a lot on the line for, and some people feel like they deserve more. At one point, I felt like I deserved more, and I had to fight for that. As much as UFC will give you an opportunity, what I learned from that, it's like a monopoly. They pick and choose. It's like, all right, who can we take? And for certain people that they don't want to take, they either slowly dismiss them or whatever. It's business. At the end of the day, the same thing in this world. It's business. Yeah, Jake might say all that shit, but it's just to kind of rear a stir to Dana. I mean, is he really doing it because he really cares, or is he doing it because of media? I don't fucking know. But it's business, and that's why I know a lot of these guys are talking about money first. They're not really talking; they're just talking about money. So everyone's going to listen. It's business.
Uriah, Levion, thank you both for your time.
Rory, thank you. And thank you to Uriah and Levion for this time. We have time for a couple more. Let's go to Kirk Jackson. Kirk, unmute yourself. He's with the Scope Network.
Thank you, Chris. I have a few quick questions for Levion. In regards to your end game to boxing, is it a goal for yours to compete at a world championship level? And if so, what would be a greater accomplishment for you? A Super Bowl championship or a world title in boxing?
Yeah, that is obviously the route I want to go. You know, I want to be the best at what I do. When I start playing football at a young age, you know, eventually at some point I said I wanted to be the best running back in the world. And, you know, to each his own, or everybody's opinion, I may have accomplished that, may not have, but I felt like I got to the point where I was a first team all pro and I accomplished like, okay, this is the highest level of, you know, team that you can make in the NFL. I think for boxing, I want to do that same thing. You know, I want to be the best that I possibly can be and reach the highest level I possibly can, you know, and continue. Obviously, I know it's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication, and, you know, I plan on doing that. You know, I never won a Super Bowl. I made it to 2 of them. I've never won one, so I don't really know the feeling of winning a Super Bowl. I know the feeling of winning big games and playoff games, but never won a Super Bowl. So never won obviously a belt. So I think if I was to win a world title or something like that, obviously that feeling will kill any other feeling I ever had in football.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Let's go to Nolan King with USA Today, MMA Junkie. Nolan?
Thanks, Chris. My question's for Uriah. Earlier, you said that you took this opportunity because you felt like that this was something that, you know, energized you, that you thought would be fun. I mean, what makes this a more energizing choice for you than sticking around in MMA? Was there something specific about this that you enjoyed more rather than taking another UFC fight?
I don't think I used the word energize. I said if there are other opportunities to gain from this, I'll do it.
Gotcha. And then for Le'Veon, you know, you indicated that you have your eyes set on title gold or you know, going down the line and taking big boxing fights. On your way up, is there anybody from your NFL career that you would want to fight, maybe from any sort of rivalry or anything, or are you not looking at any other football players at this point?
I'm not trying to fight no more NFL players.
Thanks, guys.
No.
All right, Nolan, thank you. Let's just take 2 more. Let's try Dylan Rush from Fight Club. Dylan?
Thanks, Chris. Le'Veon, you mentioned that you've wanted to become a professional boxer for 2 to 3 years now. Was there a moment or something that happened in your life that prompted you to pursue a career in boxing?
That's a good question. I don't think it was a moment. I think in 2016-ish, 2017-ish, I started using boxing as like an extra workout for football. So over that time, I guess, you know, from doing it from once a week to twice a week, and then eventually, like years down the line, start sparring and just get more invested into it. I think I just kind of started falling in love with it. And then as time went on, I started realizing I was good at it. You know, so I felt like, you know, there was not like a moment, I guess, where I made the decision. I think it was just kind of over a course kind of happened. But I don't think it was like one particular moment that made me want to do it.
Makes sense. And I got to ask you, Le'Veon, Antonio Brown recently uploaded a clip of him boxing on Instagram and has actually entertained the idea of fighting Jake Paul himself. Do you still have a relationship with AB, and would you consider training with him one day down the line after playing football together in Pittsburgh for so many years?
Yeah, me and AB be in touch all the time. I still talk to AB. He almost walked me out to the last fight. But what was the second question? Oh, about Jake Paul, him fight, or would I train, help him train? Yeah. I'll work out with AB. Yeah, I'll work out with AB for sure. Hell yeah.
And then last one for Uriah. You've gotten a lot of work in at a lot of different gyms this year. Are you still training at Fortis with Stephen Ocho Peterson and Jeff Neal, or have you moved your camp elsewhere for this fight?
No, I'm still out here in Dallas, Texas. As Fortis. Invited a couple of coaches to come out and stuff to get a different feel. But yeah, Texas is home for now.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. So many great questions in queue. Let's just give a try to 2 more here. Charlie Quinn. Charlie, you represent a couple different outlets, including SNY in New York. Please go ahead.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Question for Le'Veon. Le'Veon, what would you say is the biggest difference between your fight camps and preparing for a game?
fight camps and preparing for a game. The biggest difference, I think, obviously for fight camps, it's not like meetings and things. So I feel like in football, you're on the field, 2 hours of the day. You probably get to work. I see for me, boxing and fighting, like I'm working out more than 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I'm more in the field more than 2 hours. I guess it's more. I guess football is just more team driven. So you got to have everybody else on the same page with you. And fighting, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Fighting is all about how far you want to go and how far you want to take it. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Thank you.
Okay, Charlie, thank you. Let's go last one. Ben Davis, MMA Island. Ben, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. A couple quick ones for Uriah. You opened as a -600 favorite with Bell on the comeback of +350 as a dog. Do you think that this matchup is harder than the odds would suggest?
Only if you focus on the negative affirmations. I have a singular focus, so I don't really look at that.
Fair. Now, you shared the Octagon with the Spider on Halloween in 2020. What do you make of the main event, and do you have any predictions for it?
Man, I'm happy for Anderson. He actually texted me when he found out I was in the card. And he was just like, man, I'm so happy to see you and stuff, and good luck. And, what my goal was to train with him, but I never got the chance. And, I've always wanted to do that. We've agreed to do that after this. But, man, that's the only elusive guy I ever seen for his age, I mean, who else is up there? Yoel is up there, but Yoel's just a bulldog. But Anderson is just so unique. And who did he fight? Didn't he fight Cesar Chavez Jr. or something? I was just like, this dude's 46, what the hell? So he's just so dynamic. He's so smooth in there. And I feel like he was more of a boxer firsthand than anything. I watch him move, and I learn everything from this guy because he was my hero at the time. Still is, of course. But I'm excited to see him work. And a lot of people are saying age is a factor. Like the guy, what's that British dude? Tyson Fury's brother. I forgot his name. He was talking about how Anderson is old and stuff. I'm like, bro, that don't mean anything. And that was one of the best advice Anderson told me. He's like, the moment you think you're old, you're old. It's a mindset. For a lot of fighters, it's a complete different type of mindset. And like Le'Veon said, you're doing this football training site, there's a team atmosphere, but MMA, you're in there by yourself. So you got to adjust, but I'm happy to see him work.
Awesome. And one for Le'Veon. Do you see any weaknesses in Uriah? Obviously, his MMA career is quite well documented. Are there any chinks in the armor?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
I never seen him box. So, what I'm saying? I seen him fight, what I'm saying? So, and me trying to say he has any weaknesses in fighting, I have no expertise. Like,
ask me if I see any weakness in his football career. Go ahead.
Are there weaknesses in his football career?
No.
There we go. Respect on both sides. Last one is for Ariel. If you have any prediction or thought on how this fight might go.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Uriah is dying for my prediction on this fight. No, actually, Ben, I appreciate you asking me, but I'm going to be a part of the broadcast, so I cannot make a prediction. That would be,
you can say how you feel, man. I'm glad.
Question. Ben is one of the very best, and I expect nothing less from him. But we gotta call it on the middle. I can't wait for this. I think it's going to be a really, really fun spectacle. And honestly, it's a card that has something for everyone, like I said. And so, Chris, if you don't mind, I could take it from here. You want me to take it home?
Please, thank you. And apologies to anyone who didn't get their question in, but out of respect for the fighters' time, let's move on, Ariel. Thank you.
Saturday, October 29th, Uriah Hall, Le'Veon Bell, but that's just one of the great fights that you'll be getting on this Showtime pay-per-view, emanating from the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Tickets on sale right now at Ticketmaster.com. Pay-per-view on sale right now. Go to Showtime.com/PPV. Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, Le'Veon Bell, Uriah Hall, Dr. Mike, Ashton Silva, Chris Avila, and so many more. It all goes down October 29th. Nothing bigger happening in the world of sports this month than this event. Don't you dare miss it. We look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you, Uriah. Thank you, Le'Veon. Thank you, media. Appreciate your time.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
International superstar Jake Paul takes on one of the most feared combat sports fighters of all time, Anderson Silva. In the most exciting fight spectacle of the year, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, Saturday, October 29th, live on pay-per-view.